do a little low resolution video walkthrough of my show. This first piece here is Perros Lunaire, which I've done in collaboration with Heather Freeman, and it's intended as video projections for a performance of Schoenberg's musical piece. So someday, hopefully, we'll have a live performance of it. For now, it lives as video. And I have this posted separately, the whole video sequence as it is so far. That's actually ice floes in the North Atlantic that I photographed from a Iceland Air 757. Isn't that nice? And then over here, we have Skibladnir as she is here instead of the Viking Ship Museum. I've got the projectors on the floors. You can see that light flashing. And of course, I don't have a 80-foot or 24-meter ceiling here, just a 3 meters, 4 meters, about 11 feet 2. So not quite the same. And the light level coming in from outside is a little bright right now, but it'll look better in the evening when most people are here. And over here is the Yort Spring boat, which I had in my thesis show, and it sways ever so subtly. Let's see if I have it set right. You know, of course, all these things have to be adjusted perfectly. Yeah, it's not bad. And then I have the piece entitled Empress of the Universe over here. That's named for my cat, my late cat, because she pretended, well, she knew that she ran everything. So I had to name this gray piece after my gray cat. And let's see, let's walk over here. I think we can squeeze through this corner and look back at Skibladnir here against a darker wall. I have 2 video loops running. Well, we can't even get far enough away from it. I have 2 video loops running instead of 1 live video feed as I had in the Viking Ship Museum. And over here, this is the first time I've ever displayed a ceramic piece in one of my own shows. This is called Archimedean Promenade, after Archimedes, the Greek philosopher who discovered displacement. I actually made this one in Norway. Skibladnir was partly made in Norway. This piece here was entirely made in Norway. And this one I don't think I've ever shown before. I don't think... Oh no, I showed it at Gate City Fine Arts in Pocatello, that's right. It's paper covered toys over foam. I used a mold that I had for making this Viking ship form, and covered it with handmade paper. Which kind, I can't remember. Oh, and here's looking back across the gallery through Skibladnir, over the gunboat, into the Yort Spring boat. And here, if we can get far enough away, is called Via Vaga, or Dowager is the title. It's a line from Wagner's Das Rheingold. It's the Via Vaga, or the first Via Vaga, excuse me, are the first 2 words in Wagner's Ring. And sometimes people argue about whether it is a kind of baby talk in German, or some people think it's meant to represent the beginning of human speech. But some also say that it means something to do with waves. It's the Rhine maidens say it, and it has something to do with waves because they're floating in the Rhine. But I also called it Dowager because the black lace made me think of an elderly widow or something like that. And here is something new. This is my Gothic forest inspired by the architecture at Chester Cathedral and York Minster in England. I was there in May, and really liked the sort of this idea that Gothic architecture has a kind of cold mechanical look in some ways, but it's also light and airy, and it sort of makes you feel like you're in a forest when you're in those cathedrals, the way the pillars soar up to the ceiling and you have these arches like tree branches. There's also some video projected on this, sort of unintentionally, intentionally unintentional, as they say in baseball, when a batter gets walked. Light is spilling over from the other piece that I'll show you. But let's look at 2 little baby ones here. This one I've showed in Pocatello once at Gate City. It is called kernel. There's a little boat form sticking out of this sort of earthy box with a tree above it. And this one is called, oops, I think I forgot the title. Title cards aren't up yet. I'll get back to you on that one. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, barrow. Barrow, yeah, B-A-R-R-O-W. You know, like a mound. A mound in the ground. Here's back at the Gothic forest, which you can actually walk through. Each one of these trees is on a axis. It can pivot, and a set of 4 of them makes up a little group with a little green worm light inside. I made those. It can spin on the center axis there. So the trees have their own axis, and then the group of 4 has its own axis. And last but not least, oh, you know, I realized I already skipped a piece earlier in the show. This is from, which was in my thesis show. From means forward, or ahead in Norwegian, and I named it after Amundsen's polar exploration ship From, which you could go on in Oslo. Really an exciting thing. And one of the ideas I was trying to convey, or something I was trying to do, was to give the viewer an opportunity to have their own experience when they're with this work. So I don't want, I've said this before, I don't want to set response from people when they look at it. I want them to do their own thing, to have their own experience. So I have images of my various travels, sort of as an homage to the Vikings and their travels, or Amundsen and his travels, or Nansen. Oops, I think I said this. From was actually Nansen's polar exploration ship, and then Amundsen's polar exploration ship to the South Pole. So it was both of their ships. Nansen had it built. And let's go back to the very beginning again. This is Perrault from the backside. Here's one of Heather's images. We basically didn't manipulate each other's imagery too much. We assembled separate images, and in the future we'll actually do more manipulation of each other's images. So let's go back to this one. This one is called Grow. I showed this in Pocatello a few years ago, but I thought it was a good sort of simple introductory piece for this show. It is handmade paper over wood, and the wood is actually wafer board, or OSB, oriented strand board, you know, that yellowy chipboard stuff. So here's another overview of the show. Thanks for putting up with this sort of breathless commentary, trying to speak as quickly as I can. And that's it. Goodbye.